Have you ever heard of something called the strangest secret?
I have.
It's pretty intriguing, right?
Yeah.
And don't worry, we're not going down some weird conspiracy theory rabbit hole or anything like that.
Right.
This secret is actually a powerful message that was shared by the motivational speaker Earl Nightingale.
Yeah.
And it's tucked away in this really interesting recording from, believe it or not, the 1950s.
Wow, the 50s.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
And it claims to hold the key to, unlocking a different level of success and happiness in your life.
Okay.
And it's supposedly such a simple secret that it's
Yeah.
kind of surprising that more people haven't stumbled upon it already.
Right.
Or that it's not like, common knowledge.
Right.
So for our listeners who might not be familiar with Earl Nightingale,
Yeah.
could you tell us a little bit about him and why this strangest secret of his had such a big impact?
Yeah, so Earl Nightingale, he was like a motivational speaker, kind of a pioneer in the personal development world. And his message, like you were saying, this strangest secret, it really resonated with people.
It really took off, huh?
It took off. And it's amazing how, we're talking about it all these years later, decades later.
Right, right.
And it still is relevant today.
Right. And it makes you wonder, what is it about this message that was recorded way back when,
Yeah.
that still resonates with people today?
Right.
So let's not bury the lead any longer.
Okay.
What is this life-changing secret that Nightingale wanted to share with the world?
Well, he basically says, we become what we think about.
We become what we think about. It's
Yeah.
funny, when you first hear it,
Yeah.
it sounds so simple.
It does sound simple, right?
Like almost deceptively simple.
Right.
But I guess the more you think about it, the more profound it becomes, right?
Absolutely. And it's fascinating because you see this idea
Okay.
echoed throughout history.
Really?
You have thinkers from like Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperors,
Yeah.
all the way to, American essayists like
Yep.
Emerson.
Okay.
And they all seem to touch on this idea
Yeah.
that our thoughts really do shape our reality.
So it's not just some like feel-good self-help mantra.
No.
There's actually some real historical weight behind it.
Exactly. And what I find really interesting is that Nightingale doesn't just talk about positive thinking.
Okay.
He talks about the mechanics of how our mind actually works.
Interesting. How so?
So he uses this analogy of a farmer planting seeds.
Okay, I like that. That's a good visual.
Yeah.
So it makes you kind of think about what you're planting in your own mind, right?
Exactly.
Without even realizing it,
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does this farmer analogy work?
Okay, so imagine a farmer. He's got two seeds in his hand.
All right.
One is corn,
Okay.
and this corn represents like those goals, those dreams, those positive things that we all want.
Okay, got it.
And then he's got this other seed, and it's nightshade.
Nightshade, okay.
And nightshade, it's a poisonous plant.
Oh, okay.
So this represents, the negative thoughts, the doubts, those things that creep into our mind.
The weeds in the garden of our minds.
Exactly, the
Yeah.
weeds.
Yeah.
So he plants both of these seeds in the ground, waters them, gives them sunlight, cares for them.
Right, he's tending to them both.
Exactly, he's tending to both.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
Well, the land gives back what was planted, right?
Exactly.
But if the corn's stuck and you get the nightshade.
And here's the thing, just like the land doesn't really care what grows, our minds, they don't judge what we plant in them either.
Oh, interesting.
So if you're planting seeds of doubt, fear, negativity,
Yeah.
you're probably going to see those things reflected in your life.
It's like you're fertilizing those negative thoughts, giving them the power to grow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if you plant those seeds of confidence, if you visualize your goals clearly,
Okay.
your mind is going to work tirelessly to bring those things to life as well.
So our minds are like this fertile ground just waiting for us to decide what we want to grow there.
That's a great way to put it.
But that brings up another question for me then.
Okay.
If this principle is so universal
Yeah.
and our minds are so incredibly powerful, why aren't we all like crushing it in life?
Right.
Why do we so often feel stuck, like we're only using a fraction of our potential?
That's a great question.
Right. It's like if we have all this power
Yeah.
at our disposal, why aren't we all like living our best lives?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Nightingale, he had some thoughts on that.
Oh,
and-
okay.
And he pointed out that we tend to value most what we have to pay for.
Okay.
But the things that are truly priceless, our minds,
Right.
our health,
Yeah.
our relationships,
Our time.
our time, exactly.
Yeah.
Those things often come free. And we take them for granted.
It's like we forget how valuable they really are.
Exactly.
Because we don't have to work for them,
Exactly.
Or pay for them, I guess, in a literal sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's where his idea of this
Okay.
equal and opposite reaction comes in.
Okay. What's that?
So, that saying, no pain, no gain.
Yeah.
It's like we have to be willing to put in the effort
Okay.
to really cultivate the gardens of our minds.
Yeah.
We can't just wish for a bountiful harvest
Right.
and expect it to just magically appear.
So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about backing those thoughts up
Exactly.
with real action.
Exactly.
Or-
Our thoughts, they provide the direction. They're like the vision.
Okay.
But action is the fuel
Gotcha.
that actually propels us forward.
Okay, so it's like a two-pronged approach.
Yes.
You got to have both.
We got to have both.
A thought and the action working together.
Exactly. And to help bridge that gap,
Yeah.
Nightingale, he had this simple exercise
Okay.
that he called the 30-day test.
The 30-day test. Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So this is like a framework for putting the strangest secret into practice.
Yeah.
And actually proving it to yourself.
I like that, putting it to the test.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how does it work?
So the first step is you choose a goal,
Okay.
and it has to be a specific goal, and you write it down.
Okay, so not just like, I want to be happier or
Exactly.
I want to be richer.
Right. It needs to be
Something more concrete.
measurable, something that you can actually track.
Got it. So instead of, I want to be more successful, it would be like, I want to launch my own business
Yes.
by this time next year.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Exactly. And then here's the key.
Okay.
You review this written goal frequently throughout the day.
Okay.
And I mean really visualizing yourself having already achieved it.
Okay.
Feel the excitement, feel the satisfaction.
So it's about going beyond just acknowledging the goal. It's like fully immersing myself in that feeling of success.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Visualization is powerful.
It is, it is.
And here's where the work comes in. Throughout the day, those negative thoughts,
Yeah, they always creep in.
they creep in, those nightshade seeds.
Right, like weeds.
Those weeds, exactly.
Yeah.
But instead of letting them take root,
Okay.
you consciously replace them with that positive image
Okay.
of you achieving your goal.
So it's like actively choosing
Yes.
those empowering thoughts, those corn seeds over the self.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I like it.
And then finally,
Okay.
you commit to putting in more effort than usual.
So we're not just passively visualizing.
No.
We're aligning our actions with our aspirations.
Exactly.
We're demonstrating our commitment through the effort we put in.
And Nightingale had this bonus tip.
Okay, I like bonus tips.
Cultivate an attitude of gratitude
Okay. Yeah.
for what you already have.
Right.
It's amazing how powerful that can be.
It's like that saying, gratitude is the attitude that changes everything.
That's a good one.
It really is.
It is.
Because it helps you focus on the positive.
Yes.
Yeah, so you attract more positive things into your life.
Exactly.
I like that.
That's a powerful cycle.
It is. It is.
Now, I know what you might be thinking.
Okay, what's that?
30 days.
Yeah.
Sounds easy,
It
man.
does sound pretty simple.
But remember what we said about effort.
Right. Right.
This is about proving something to ourselves.
Okay.
It's about demonstrating the power of our own minds.
Right. So it's not about whether it's easy or hard.
Just right.
It's about showing up consistently
Yes.
and keeping that promise to yourself, even when you don't see those immediate results.
Exactly.
Okay.
Trusting that the seeds you're planting
Right.
will eventually bear fruit.
Yeah, even if we don't see those little sprouts popping up right away.
Exactly. It's about embracing the journey.
The journey, yeah.
Setbacks and all.
Setbacks and all, because let's be real, there are always going to be setbacks.
Always.
Right.
It's part of the process.
It's part of life.
Exactly.
So, speaking of setbacks, how does Nightingale suggest we deal with those inevitable bumps in the road?
Okay.
How do we stay focused and positive when things get tough?
Yeah, it's easier said than done sometimes,
It really is.
To keep that positive mindset when you're facing challenges and obstacles.
Yeah, when you're in the thick of it, it's hard to,
Exactly.
see the forest for the trees.
Right.
But Nightingale, he reminds us that setbacks, they're not failures.
Okay.
They're just feedback.
Feedback. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the universe's way of,
Okay.
course correcting, maybe guiding us to a better path or
Richard.
revealing a solution that we hadn't even considered.
So it's not about avoiding challenges altogether because, that's probably impossible.
Oh, right. You can't outrun life.
You can't outrun life. Exactly.
So it's more about how we choose to respond to those challenges.
Exactly.
Right. Not letting them completely derail us.
Exactly. Do we let a setback,
Yeah.
completely derail us? Or do we use it as an opportunity to learn, to grow, to adapt?
Right, to come back even stronger.
Exactly. Resilience.
Resilience. That's
the key. It's bouncing back from those setbacks, knowing that they're just a part of the process, not the end of the story.
Right, exactly.
Now, one thing I find really interesting about Nightingale's philosophy is that he doesn't limit success to just, material wealth or career achievements.
Yeah, it's not all about the money or the status.
Exactly. He places a really strong emphasis on the importance of service.
Oh, interesting.
As a cornerstone of success.
Okay, I like that. So it's about how we can use our success to make a positive impact on the world around us.
Exactly. And he talks about this idea of mutual exchange.
Mutual exchange. Okay.
So true prosperity, it comes from finding ways to enrich the lives of others.
So it's about shifting our definition of success, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about what we can accumulate for ourselves, but it's also about the positive impact that we have on others.
Absolutely. And, that ties back to what we were talking about before, those priceless possessions, our minds, our health, our relationships.
Right.
When we use those gifts to uplift others, that's when we find true fulfillment.
Yeah. It's about finding that point where our passions and our skills intersect with the needs of the world.
I like that. That's a good way to put it.
Right. But sometimes it's knowing where to begin can feel a little overwhelming,
Yeah, it can.
These are all great ideas, but how do I actually put them into practice?
Right. Well, Nightingale, he shared these really insightful 6 steps.
6 steps. Okay.
For realizing success. That came from a psychiatrist, Dr. David Harold Frink.
Okay. Lay it on me. What are the 6 steps?
All right. So step 1 is establish a definite goal.
All right, so that's our clear vision, what we want to achieve.
Exactly. And then step 2, this one's important. Stop criticizing yourself.
Oh, man, that's a tough one.
It is tough.
That inner critic can be brutal.
It really can. It can sabotage us.
Oh, for sure.
Before we even get started.
Yeah.
Which is why step 3 is so important.
Okay.
Focus on the reasons for success.
Okay, so shift that focus away from the negative and towards the positive.
Exactly.
Okay.
Focus on your strengths, your past victories.
Right, all the things that have gone right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then step 4.
Okay.
This one's interesting. He says to analyze self-limiting beliefs that we've picked up. Sometimes.
Oh, from childhood and stuff.
From childhood. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because sometimes our subconscious is clinging to these old narratives.
Oh, totally. We don't even realize how much those early experiences shape our beliefs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
About ourselves and what we think we're capable of.
Yeah, it's like we're carrying around all this baggage.
Baggage, exactly.
That's preventing us
from moving forward.
Yeah.
So step 5, create a description of your ideal self.
Ooh, I like this one. So it's who is that successful, fulfilled version of yourself that you're working towards?
Exactly. What qualities do they embody?
Yeah. It's getting crystal clear on the vision.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then finally, step 6.
Okay, the grand finale.
This is the most important one.
All right, hit me with it.
Act the part.
Act the part, okay.
Embody that ideal self.
So it's not just about thinking it, it's about living it.
Exactly. Our thoughts influence our actions reinforce our beliefs.
Right, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. When we start acting in alignment with our desired self-image, our minds start to believe it's possible.
It's so true. It all comes back to that core message. We become what we think about.
It does. It's such a simple idea.
Right.
But it's so profound.
It really is when you actually let it sink in.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of The Strangest Secret. It's not some complicated formula. It's a timeless principle.
It's about understanding the power of our own minds.
Exactly. And using that power to create the life that we want.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, for our listeners who are feeling stuck, or maybe they're just curious about unlocking their full potential, this is your invitation to dive into The Strangest Secret for yourself.
Explore it. What if you truly believed that you could achieve anything you set your mind to?
What kind of life would you create?
The answers, as always, they lie within.
That's a great place to end it. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into The Strangest Secret.
It was my pleasure.